Hello, everyone. Welcome to Kudlow. I'm Larry Kudlow. So, there's Joe Biden telling us how wonderful high gas prices are. We're going through an incredible transition away from fossil fuel, he says. God willing, when it's over, we'll be stronger and the world will be stronger and less reliant on fossil fuels when this is over. Well, God willing, Mr. President, we'll still have an economy. Sky-high gasoline prices, including diesel prices, including natural gas prices, are not the answer. We're never going to replace fossil fuels. Whether you or John Kerry understand this, electric cars are great, even though you won't invite Elon Musk to the White House because he runs a non-union shop, and now he's for free speech, and even worse, he's going to vote Republican. But even Elon has called for stepped-up production of oil and gas. The only thing missing from President Biden's "I like gas prices" speech is that he didn't say it in Davos, where all the climate nuts are gathered to sing the praises of a fossil-free world and to trash capitalism, like they always do. I've been to a couple of those Davos meetings, but only because I was forced at gunpoint to accompany President Trump. It was not a wonderful experience. Hundreds, maybe thousands of CEOs and their fellow travelers extolling radical green policies, trashing free market capitalism. Really, truly, CEOs doing this. People you'd think would know better, but in fact, they no longer know better. There isn't a blue-collar worker within 3 continents of Davos. That there is the problem. People that might drive a semi or a pickup or their livelihood depends on it. They're just dying to have $10 gas or diesel, right? Traveling salespeople who cover large swaths of the country, they're just dying to have $10 gasoline. Heck, people who live in New York metropolitan area who can't even get power, air conditioning, home heating, or gasoline because their goofball Democratic governors have completely shut down access to fossil fuels. While one state away in Pennsylvania, there's prosperity because actually a Democratic governor years ago opened the door to drilling and pipelining fossil fuels from the great Marcellus Shale. But in western New York, there's none of it, just a few blocks away from the border. Kind of reminds me of East and West Berlin during the old days. Instead of creating jobs or rejuvenating a long moribund part of New York State, the lefties running New York would much rather import oil and gas from Russia. At Davos, meanwhile, climate czar John Kerry talks about how many people are getting killed from droughts, fires, mudslides, floods, storms. But in fact, this is not true. As Bjorn Lomborg has written repeatedly, deaths from climate-related events have been plunging for over 100 years. For example, in the 1920s, almost 500,000 people were killed by climate-related disasters. Last year was less than 7,000. Climate-related disasters have killed 99% fewer people than 100 years ago. We are safer from climate disasters than ever before, no matter what climate-crazed activists or their media allies may tell us. The other night on this show, former EPA Director Scott Pruitt was criticizing the extremist Biden view of climate. All this business of direct, indirect, or cumulative envirometrics are useless in a world where technology improves climate by leaps and bounds. The nat gas revolution is just one example. The U.S. has the lowest carbon emissions of any of the big countries. Mr. Pruitt mentioned the promising advances in carbon sequester and storage, something which has been developing rapidly and widely. Nobody can predict the future, but in a prosperous world with typical American wealth creation, we will have the resources to develop the know-how by smart entrepreneurs to make air and water cleaner and cleaner. That is our history. We don't need outrageous energy prices that will ratchet up inflation and crash the economy, devastating middle-class, blue-collar American workers along the way. There is no reason why fossil fuels can't exist with renewables and nuclear in the next 100 years. We used to call it all the above. But as far as Mr. Biden's so-called, quote, incredible transition, end quote, that is a bit of woke ideological root canal without Novocaine inflicted on the American economy in an unnecessary strategy. This is part of some progressive dream, what Newt Gingrich calls big government socialism. It's a bad dream. It's a dream that must end. We will not restore high growth and low inflation until we rid ourselves of this nightmarish progressive dream. Need I say it again? The cavalry's coming.